Okay, so hello everybody. I'm Silvia Rueda, and we are going to talk about the Evolution Groove, a fantastic project that we did in Burning Man last year from Understory Studio. So, as I mentioned, I am Silvia, an architect from Colombia, a former immersive media specialist at Heatherwick Studio, and now creative director and founder of Understory Studio. So basically, I am focused on using new technologies to improve design decisions, as well working with real-time technology like Unreal Engine and Twinmotion, and basically, yeah, playing a lot with technologies to make beautiful designs. So this is the story of how from an Unreal Fellowship, that is a program that Epic Games launched, I don't know, a few years back, that anybody can just enter. How this Unreal Fellowship design come to reality. So, as mentioned, I was participating in the Unreal Fellowship of World Building 2023. This was a fantastic opportunity. Basically, is a small boot camp where 100 people or 100 designers or whoever basically come to do this like knowledge learning about Unreal Engine and world building. So because they had 100 people, that means that we needed to have different sort of projects, and this is what we did. We roll some dice, and then from the dice that we all roll, we have different numbers. We created our world building. In this case, I choose, and I was giving as well, a tidy swamp with surrealism style, Bauhaus. It had to have a rock or concrete architecture in golden hour, and it needed to have a plot twist of animia. So I played a lot with the curve of architecture, with the Dali elephant from Dali, basically, and I play with this magical world building and basic parametric architecture to create this fantastic world full on landscape, full on of creativity and different sort of uh, sparkles and lighting happening in this architecture. And it was such a fantastic project to work on. You can see there that the Lee elephant is just walking around. I didn't know even how to rig or to do an animation inside Unreal. It was more of moving objects but not rigging the character. So even though that this was not taught in this fellowship, I did had a lot of help from people around, because, as mentioned, the people that are in the fellowship are they are not architects. I was one of the, I don't know, two or three architects that was in the fellowship, and as well I was one of the four or five women representing uh, basically gaming technologies and yeah, being in the fellowship. So this was just amazing, and the project, the people really loved it. We had as well to deliver, apart from the animation that you just saw, we had to deliver this turntable, they call it. So basically you just put the camera in a center point, and then you start spinning it, but you don't move the focal point. And then here you can see like the whole world building, like all of the swamp, how it was carved in, because you need literally with the landscape tools inside Unreal, you could carve all of the landscape around it. Yeah, I took a massive inspiration in a very, very, very nice project in Japan. So yeah, basically we needed to create this world in 3 weeks, and I was like, okay, uh, I love it. How can we make this happen? And one of my favorite comments, because at the end you did like you needed to do a fellowship fest, and my project was selected, so we could show the project to a lot of people and invited juries and so on. And this was just the moment that it melted my heart. It says, my son has been sitting next to me and ignoring all the scenes, but this one has completely caught his attention. That's a huge compliment for an autistic child. basically this is the reason of why you do what you do, right? Like how would you not get inspired from these sort of comments? And now imagine how, like, what if we put this world in a immersive world, in a VR world where anybody can just jump in. But now I'm gonna tell you how we make this into the physical world that is even more crazy. So I don't know if you have ever heard about Burning Man. I didn't. Back in my I think it was in yeah I was in my doing my master's here in London at UCL Bartlett, and then somebody told me about Burning Man. I was like, okay, what is this? So it's an event that happens in the middle of the desert in Nevada that around 80,000 people come every year to celebrate art, self-expression, community, self-reliant. And the cool part is that there are like 10 main principles that everybody really needs to follow. So just by the fact of being self-reliance and leaving no trace and gifting is just a whole new concept. Like there is no money, there is yeah, it's just talking to very, very, very interesting people and getting to experience incredible art and being in a desert that as well is like quite a hazard, right? Like I had never lived in the desert, and the weather conditions are ultra extreme. So just being able to survive for a week in the desert with people that are going crazy, but not because you need to be conscious of where you are, but as well having very, very crazy conversations. And I don't know, I recommend everybody to go to this event at least once in their lifetime. And I had the opportunity to bring art apart from going. So basically, this is the setup. You could see that there is yeah, it's 80,000 people, so it's massive. Everything that you see here in gray are the camps. So everybody goes and lives in a camp, or you can do as well free camping, but still you will be like you will belong to a grid. It's a city, right? In the middle there is the man, the burning man. I was always asking, why is it a man and it cannot be a burning woman? But basically, yeah. Let's see in the future. Maybe I get to design a burning woman. And then the other very important element, apart from the art pieces that are just spread around the whole playa, this is like basically this area is called playa, inner playa, and then everything here is called the playa. And there are art pieces around. The other main important thing is the temple. The temple is the place that you go and remember your loved ones. You go and just think about whatever, like very yeah, it's a moment of silence in a very not silent environment, very noisy environment. So you arrive there, and then at the end, this is the last thing that it burns at the end of the event. After a week, we burn the temple, and this is the moment where everybody is in silence. It's crazy to hear silence after a week because there is no silence. Everybody holds hands and cries, and it's crazy because you go there and it's the moment where it ends the event. So as well, you have experienced something very extreme, very incredible, the best experience of your life, and then it's ending, and as well it's ending with the memories of people that have been loved, and everything is burning. So it's impressive. So this was the core team for Nebula Shroom Groove. Me, my partner Lina, she was in charge of everything related to project manager and the concept idea, and it was incredible. And Anna, an architect from Colombia. At the beginning, we were gonna do the art piece in Colombia, but of course, it was impossible to just bring it to Nevada. It was just very expensive, so we ended up doing it in. You will know in a second, so wait for it. So the main concept. I don't know if you have ever felt alone. Of course, everybody have felt alone. I have felt alone, and in Colombia, where I'm from, when you feel alone, you say that you feel like a mushroom. So we basically we took all of the inspiration in these little mushrooms, which are the same shape of the world building design that you already saw, and as well loneliness. as you may know, it's a very complicated topic. At least 60% of the people in the UK say that they have felt lonely, and as well, sadly, it does increase risk in depression and anxiety, in premature death, in dementia. It can increase the mental health issues, the deterioration of physical health. So it was like a red flag on why, like, this is a very important topic. We should address it. So what we wanted to, the best way to prevent this is to create an inclusive space that promotes social connection, and that's why we created Nebula, a project awarded by Burning Man, where we created a space that anybody could interact and celebrate the power of community. So basically, we took this lonely mushroom, one mushroom, as we are all, then we gave this mushroom some company, and then we made it support between each other. So that's how we created Nebula. You can see that it's the same design, as in the same yeah, the same geometry, but it's clustered differently. We had to reduce it in scale so that it could be an art piece, because if we took exactly the same project from the fellowship, it was going to be another temple, which I did, and they told me no. So yeah, that's why we needed to reduce it. Of course, it was important that people could jump in, up, inside, outside, the different circumferences of the mushrooms. We wanted them to be different in size, so that we could gather different sort of people, and that's how Nebula was born. And as well, you could see that Nebula was lighted up at the end, because in the desert there is no light, right? Like, you are bringing everything with you, so it was important to Nebula to be seen in the dark. So it's as important at day than at night. So basically, Nebula is the perfect combination of architecture, public art, sculpture, community, winning the Honoraria grant from Burning Man, and crowdfunding. Crowdfunding was the most crazy experience I had to do last year. This was just whoa. I had never been in the position to ask for money to anybody. So this was like, yeah, one of the skills that I had to work the most, I will say, and the most difficult part of it, because it's an art piece that is going to be in the middle of of a desert, but not everybody can see it. So for us, it was important to not burn it, so that we could find it another home. And yeah, it was a bit complicated. So visualization played a key role for crowdfunding. So from Rhino, we started to visualize it in Twinmotion and in Unreal Engine, using Datasmith Direct. Link was like our best friend, because we could just jump back and forth from Rhino and then visualize it correctly in these real-time technology softwares. As well, we use Unreal Engine for testing out lighting, because we wanted to celebrate as much as possible the structure. In this case, you can see that here we are trying to light up each individual structural element, which if we had all the money, we would have done it. But yeah, things happen. We could not light it up that way, but don't worry, we lighted that even better. So we use DMX plugins inside Unreal to do this correlation with the LED lights, and as well we use pixel streaming. We use with the support of Palacia team in New York, we implemented basically a digital twin, so that investors, or the people that could help us create this art piece in the desert, could support the project and could donate. That could understand that maybe if this was something that they wanted to have as well in their own, I don't know, in their own courtyards, in their own small events or whatever. So that's why as well, in the digital twin, or in the pixel streaming twin, basically we put in different scenarios. So in the middle of the forest, in the middle of a plaza, it as well in the middle of a landfill, because at this point we were having conversation on how to bring it back to Colombia, so that like yeah, our community of Colombian people could experience it. But as mentioned, it's super super hard to just ship an art piece back to a country, or yeah, to move art pieces from country to country. So after a lot of help from friends and family, and me just yeah asking everybody to help me out, and a lot of t-shirts that we sold. Thank you everybody that bought a t-shirt. We managed to well, like we managed to raise half of the money, and that's thank God that we had a parametric design geometry that we could that allowed us to just create half of it. And I was very worried that it would look very different from what I had in my mind or what I pictured in my mind, but no, it looked fantastic. I think I was aiming to create I don't know, like uh, 32 mushrooms. We ended up bringing 9, and it was more than enough. It was massive. It was just it was just crazy how big it was and how complicated it was. So yeah, it was good for a starting art piece to bring uh, the biggest mushroom, the biggest cluster of mushrooms, and as well the smallest one, so that we could have two different sizes of them. And with, as mentioned, with a parametric design and with a lot of help from the computational team, Tio and Alfredo, we had this model that we could change quite easily. So we needed to change the circumference of the rings, or the size of them. We could just change the parameters inside Grasshopper, and we could just everything will change. And as well, with the massive help from format engineers, that they had already had experience in Burning Man because they did this stem from Manomami. We worked closely with them, and as well they were using Grasshopper, so they understood completely the geometry. We managed to deliver a very coherent structure that was ultra safe in the biggest mushroom, that it was 3 meters tall and 3 meters in diameter, in diameter, sorry. 30 people could be partying on the top of it, and this will never move. So um, with Foreman Engineers report, we managed to understand how thick the rings needed to be. This was plywood, and then it was a sandwich of two plywoods placed together, so the junctions juxtaposed so that it was super solid. Then the next element that was very important was the structural element, and this was the wedges. We call them wedges, that were the ones transferring all the load to the ground. And then we wanted to cover these wedges with a little cladding, basically, to add a bit of aesthetical part of it. And that's why we could see this wrap of basically two twists that were wrapping up the whole structure. And then mm, and then as well, we had platforms so that people could jump on top of the mushrooms and just, party, dance, cry, tell stories, or yeah, whatever they wanted to do, they could do it. And then because we had everything done in Grasshopper, we could detail even how many, like the amount of screws, the amount of dowels. The dowels were the ones that were just grabbing the wedge into the ring. So we had everything count. So at the end, when we were fabricating it, it was pretty accurate, the amount of material that we need to use and the budget that we were using at the end, right? This was our first prototype. It was a laser cut prototype, of course. It was very helpful to understand how to build it, because we didn't know who was going to build it. It ended up being me, but I had never used, in that moment. Now I'm a professional, but in that moment I had never used a drill, a sander, like nothing. So it had to be basically done as if I was, if as as for anybody basically to be able to take the hammer and take everything and be able to use it without thinking. Like it was made like it was a Lego made for super dummies basically. And then this was the PDF that that Theo delivered at the end, which had like all of the slice of each of the clusters or each of the mushrooms, so that we could just without, yeah, as I mentioned, without thinking that much, it was all labeled, and we were just drilling and doing all on site. And then a massive, of course, an insanely big Excel file that we could understood what was printed, what was not, and then yeah, not printed, it was CNC. So thank God, like the D2B guys that are in California, they were as well using Hopper and also the same language, and it was very easy for us to be able to coordinate with them, to understand how many sheets we needed, to nest basically all of the pieces that we needed to cut in all of them, the majority pieces in one of the sheets, so that we could not waste that much money, that much money and that much material either. So because half of the team was in London and the other half was in California, we were using this software that is called So. Good shout, like massive shout to this software. We love like we could see day by day how much progress we were printing and we were cutting and we were seeing and we were basically placing it together. So it was a very good way on, yeah, of fabrication. Like this was very useful in fabrication. And then apart from fabrication, we needed to ship it. We were very far away from the desert of Nevada, so we needed to place it in a low bed, or I don't remember how is the name, and then a truck basically. And we didn't realize that the biggest mushroom was 3 meters. If we just put the mushroom in this bed, 3 meters tall, in all of the tunnels or bridges, no, like this will fall like, immediately. Like we will make a chaos in the middle of the massive highway. So we needed to think of a way on how to build it, and then as well not and keep it built per color, so that we could put it inside the truck, and then on site, basically on Burning Man, be able to connect it. So it was like a Lego inside a Lego. So these were all of the prefabricated pieces. And again, we used speckle for this. This was the only thing that we had on the desert that we could just use as reference. So thank you, speckle, for existing. And then make it real. How did we make it real? So we were fabricating in D2B workshop in the beautiful mountains of California. I took 1 month of sabbatical from Heatherwick studio at that moment to be able to jump in the first flight that I could and drive up the mountains and be able to live here for a month in this perfectly beautiful workshop. You could see here the pieces, all of the pieces. These were just, I don't know, these were just half of one mushroom. This is how many pieces we were doing. I was not aware of the amount of physical help or physical strength that I needed to have for creating this piece. Like the small cluster that was at least what 120 tall, it was 200 kilos. I needed to prepare myself like if I was doing an Ironman or something like that. Like, and I didn't, of course, I didn't know that. So at the first day, everything hurt. All my body hurt, my hands, my hair. I was like, oh my God, how we're gonna finish? This is crazy. And thank God this team of amazing people were there as well, helping us out. The one of the most important the living things that was around, that was like the my emotional support friend, was this guy Rusty. He was the ranch dog, which I loved, and he was just there eating half of the wood, and it was amazing. And then of course we started the fabrication uh using, yeah, CNC machine. and then day at night just fabricating and fabricating. I start just building each of the mushrooms and sandwich them up and down. And this AJ, our basically our main fabricator, was there as well, just yeah, giving us all his strength and help and and wisdom to being able to just build this. I didn't have any experience. I was not aware that I was gonna build it with my own hands. So it was crazy. Um, and then, of course, this little circle, little, because this is not even the big one. It was just the middle part of the medium one. You could see that was taller than my friend and than AJ. So you needed two people at least to handle the circles. And then you needed, and we were doing nine mushrooms, which uh, each one had at least, I don't know, like the shortest one had uh 12 slides, but the tall one, sorry, the tall had at
¡Vamos!
least 15.
¡Vamos! Well done.
The tallest one had at least yeah, I don't know, like 25 slides. So this is very, very crazy. So again, I'm gonna put this video. Hopefully, I'm not shouting. You are not hearing it because I muted. But this is, yeah, because everything was super, super heavy. We needed to maneuver it or move it with a massive crane or like a arm. And then we are here just yeah, moving each piece to the next site because we could not be doing this inside of the workshop because it didn't fit. And then yes, we realized as well that we needed to flip them to transport them, because if we put them in the correct way, again in the middle of the highway, they will just collapse and go away. So so we were flipping these, I don't know how tons of kilograms being flipped in the air. We were just sweating and with our hearts in our hands to be able to just flip this. And then at the end of the day, we were just unwinding. This is my friend Claudio. He was as well there with us for the whole month, building. His manpower and his great attitude was like the biggest blessing that I had that month. And yeah, I hope to continue doing this with people that you love and that you admire. And yeah, hopefully you hear that, but it was a bit of a summary of what we did, or yeah, that's what we did in D2B, and then we arrived to the desert, right? And was the when arrive this the art pieces are gonna be around, and then we got a premium mission. We were very didn't know where we were gonna be play right. So you're there your name of mushroom and your wall hat because it's super hot. And they, yeah, you're like basically in the street, and I was like, oh my god, this is real, this is crazy, this is the moment we arrive, everybody's super hyped. We took a team of 15 people that all were virgins, nobody had been to Burning Man, so that was as well as crazy as it could get. And then they drove us to this place where the only thing that said where we were was this disc with this pink little fluffy thing in the top. And it was like, yeah, this is your coordinates, this is your site, start. And we were like, okay, how? How do we start? What? Ah! And then the mushrooms arrived. The mushrooms finally arrived in this flatbed. And this moment was just, for me, it was like the pinnacle. No, the one of the pinnacles. But when we saw these mushrooms arrived, because of course we were not in the truck with them, right? Like they arrived 1 day later, and then they arrived. We had as well to use these cranes, just move from the truck to the floor. Of course, we could not move these cranes, and these cranes as well are meant to be for all of the artists, not just for us. So we had to book that. Then we had to have everything ready when the crane arrived, and yeah, it was it was just crazy. Even just like all of the items, like just the crane, and then as well we needed to ground it to the ground, literally, like had anchors to the ground. So that was another machine that was anchoring, and then we had a base plates that basically it was like the footprint of where these heavy, ultra heavy mushrooms were gonna land. So we needed to be very accurate here with this, with our phone and speckle, just seeing like, yeah, this is it. And then each of the mushrooms kissed, and they kissed in a very specific way. So we needed to rotate them and be very sure that they were in the correct way, because if not, nobody will be able to move them. And then, yeah, we were as we had as well, Daddy, one of our friends as well, brought a drone, and it was fantastic to be able to see everything from the top. Um, yeah, no, this is, yeah. Every time that I tell this story, it's just it melts my heart of happiness. Um, and then here's yeah, these trenches that you could see here are the ones that are supplying electricity, because again, you don't have light, you don't have anything, and we wanted each of the mushrooms to light up from the inside. So you needed to call the guy, the trencher guy that literally did the trench, and then put the cable, and then this was connected to a solar panel system that was giving us energy. And then you need to think about everything. And the nice part of being in the desert is that you get to see every day the sunset, which is just mind blowing. And yeah, here's the whole team moving moving circles, just trying to work night and day. Thank God for this amazing team again that were just incredible and hardworking people that yeah, had the best time of their life. I think we have a lot of stories to tell and a lot of things to say about this fantastic moment. And yeah, this is a little of a summary of what was the building process in Burning Man. If you don't hear the music, this is so awkward. Hopefully you do. If not, you will imagine it. And then, yeah, we did bring it to life. And we took an amazing photographer and videographer with us that took these fantastic photos of Nebula in the sunrise. Christina, shout to Christina, and to Luquitas that was doing the videos. Uh, of course, there are sunstorms. Of course, there is hard conditions. But of course, in these hard conditions is uh, when Nebula and all the art piece excel and look the most beautiful. So that's why Burning Man is one of the best experience of my life, at least. And then trying out lighting, because as mentioned, we had a lighting engineer or a team of people, Nini and Juan, which were an amazing team. We worked from with them since the beginning of the design, and sadly, this was the thing that lighting was the most expensive thing that we designed, because we wanted everything to light up. And then we value engineer, and we ended up having a very very nice solution on how to light all of the inside with a we had a phone and an app that coordinated all of this lighting. And then each night we could change the lighting system and basically the LEDs. So you could see here that all of the structure that we wanted to celebrate is still being celebrated. And here we are trying to change the color of the lighting. So one of the days was the Ukrainian day. So we put all of the of Nebula in Ukrainian flag. Then these art cars that you can see here in the left normally are the ones that will bring the music. The art pieces cannot have music, so the art cars will just land next to the art piece and are the ones that will project all of the speakers. So we coordinated the lighting of Nebula with the art car, and that was fantastic. Other art cars as well that came in the daytime, and then this magical team as well, trying to give trying to give an interview in the middle of a massive sun, but as well, like, look at this, we are just having much fun with such a fashion palette of colors that I normally don't wear in London, and that's what makes everything even more incredible. Trying to, here is Alfredo trying to fly out the drone. Sadly, it did got confiscated because we didn't have the correct permit to fly it. So shout out to, if you want to bring a drone, to the permits. And apart from being able to jump up and down, you could as well climb it, not even from like each of the mushrooms jumping up and down, but you can climb it from the side. Apart from that, there were weddings. This was a red wedding that was celebrated in Nebula, a fantastic queer wedding that as well was celebrated in Nebula, and even parkour was happening there. We had as well different artists. This is Lamai, that she was leading a static dance in Nebula in a sunrise. So there were so many things happening that we didn't even know that they happened because we were not 24/7 in the RPs. We had to sleep as well. We had to as well explore Burning Man. So the fun part is that you leave the art piece. Of course, you go and see it at least, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a day, and you want to see it every time. Like every time that I was cycling around, I wanted to pass through my art piece. It's just impressive. But yeah, so there is a lot of things going on, and it's just, yeah, an experience that everybody should do. And this is a sneak peek. We will have another full video very soon in our socials, and because of course it was a project made with love, with a massive community, with everything that we had inside, we did, and it was beautiful. We did get announced and shout out in incredible platforms. And again, everything, this was not being possible. It had never been possible without this fantastic team of people. Big shout out to everybody, everybody, everybody. Camp coordinator, Alberto, Caro, everybody here that just help us out with making this happen. And then if you want to follow us in social media, go to _BM. We will be hopefully producing way more art in the desert or somewhere else. Give us a shout. And the cool part is that we didn't burn it, so it did have an afterlife. So now Nebula Shum is in Second Sky. Second Sky is a community hub with an adventure playground that does events and immersive digital environments for kids and for people. So it's a place where kids go and learn maths and science and go to play with art, and then it's there. They built it again. It's being used by lovely people, and then if you guys want to see it, this is in Arizona. In the States, so go and visit. And thank you very much for listening. Any questions, anything, just follow me on socials and I will be very happy to answer everything. Thank you.